Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listings.
I know you want the goodies. Welcome to the goodie room.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like,
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
They're going to do the Mary Poppins thing. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
yeah. Well, at least I'm not a girl. Slander. Oh, bitch, you killed Kenny. You fat hoe.
He who controls the spice controls the universe. Andrew
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, of course, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis, and always keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. And welcome to the Spice Lounge, where myself, my panel members, and some special guests, we just get together and give you all the hot takes, spicy talk, with no filter, with a side of fun and sometimes a little cringe too, but mainly we are here to have fun. And speaking of fun, I'm so glad all you guys are starting to filter on in. And if you're watching this on the replay, we are so glad you are here. Absolutely. Let's go. So folks, as people are starting to gather in, you know how we kick off the show. We kick off the show with hot topics. And what are those? Those are topics that just dropped into, we'll say your girl's email box or whatever, just to let you know and keep you informed when it comes to what's hot and up and coming in pop culture. Coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter, Alien Romulus director Fede Alvarez unveils first teaser, talks Ridley Scott and James Cameron approved prequel. The filmmaker confirms the project is not standalone, but rather connects to the other films in the franchise. I love all of those movies. I didn't want to omit or ignore any of them. So apparently this is going to hit the theaters in August, but today the trailer dropped where they finally pulled back the curtain on the interquel. I swear that must be like a new term or something like that. Interquel, releasing a terrifying 62-second teaser trailer that reestablishes the look and feel of the franchise bona fide classics. Now, I will say, after seeing the trailer, yes, there are definitely callbacks to the original scary as hell in space, no one can hear you scream kind of thing when it comes to Alien. However, that's the trailer. If the film pulls it off, is going to be a totally different story. So we shall see. Let's see. Focused on a group of 20-something space colonists and scavengers who have the misfortune of meeting a xenomorph inside a dilapidated space station. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The film has a notably young cast that's led by Kaylee Spenny, Isabella Merced, as well as David Johnson, Archie Renault, Spike Fearn, and Aileen Wu. Alvarez says the idea to follow younger people in this world came from an Aliens deleted scene that Cameron eventually restored in his special edition cut. So I'll have to keep an eye on this because I am interested in seeing it and see if it does the rare thing of actually being better than the original. Sneak peek, I don't think it will be. Beetlejuice returns in a first look at Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder. Also see Catherine O'Hara reprising her role from the cult classic alongside Jenny Ortega and Justin Theroux. I actually do really like Justin Theroux. So this is coming to us from Entertainment Weekly. Doesn't look like Michael Keaton has aged a day, does it? Hardly at all, but I'm looking forward to this. I loved the original Beetlejuice. And to go down here for some other pictures, see there's Catherine O'Hara there to the left, Delia. Jenny Ortega is going to be Lydia's daughter. There's Winona Ryder there as Lydia, not surprised with the glasses, and Justin Theroux. I love how he's dressed. And I just say that he is seriously pimping in that outfit. This just gives me such great vibes. So cannot wait for this. I think this is coming out. Is it this summer? I think it's this summer. Be smart if it was this summer. Anyway, I think that's when it's coming out. Next, I am going to go against the fandom grain and say I have never liked the Never Ending Story movie. I can't stand that darn dog. That movie was painful for me to sit through. It just was not my thing. However, the Never Ending Story is getting a film series adaptation from Slow Horse's banner Seesaw. I have no idea who Seesaw is. Apparently, there's some kind of, what did they call them? Oh, here it is. So this is going to be revived for the big screen once more with a new joint venture partnership between Michael End Production and Prestige Tastemakers Seesaw Films, bringing the world of Fantastica back to cinemas over multiple live action films. Anytime I hear the word tastemaker, I know, tastemaker, Never Ending Story, that doesn't quite seem to jive. But I wasn't interested in the movie. I still don't think it's a good idea trying to do this. It's like Hollywood. Let's get something. Let's get something original. I mean, I can't stand the Never Ending Story, but I don't hate it that much. Ugh. But we'll see. Let's get into a little bit of game news here from Rock Paper Shotgun. PC gaming since 1873. Okay, so they're part of PC Master Race. Hey, how you doing? Uncharted directors Black Panther and Captain America game revealed as Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra out in 2025. T'Challa's granddad and a fresh-faced Cap will be joined by a U.S. soldier and a Wakandan spy in World War II Paris. I'm really not too interested in this kind of matchup. But you guys let me know. The trailer looks pretty okay. But who's really interested in a Black Panther Captain America pair-up game? I don't even know. Got prove be there, right? I would suspect this highly. I would suspect any game, because when you're thinking 1943, Captain America, yes. But Black Panther? It just seems really, really odd of a matchup, but it's what it is. And our last one that we have for Hot Topics, box office preview, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire aims for $45 million opening weekend. Now, I am pretty excited about seeing this film. One of the best things that, oh great, I think I broke it. Better not have broken it. Anyway, no, I did. That's kind of flimsy. The best thing that happened out of me going to see the Society of Magical Negroes movie or whatever is I got the Ghostbusters trap. There's that thing. There it is. Popcorn bucket. Got that. Actually got it before it was on sale at the website. So that actually worked out pretty well. So hopefully the film will be okay. I'm going to go see it in RPX, so I'm excited about it. I got a free RPX upgrade. Just make sure you snap the handle in really good, because I didn't, and it fell off. But either way, this was, I think it was 25, and I got like a big ass thing of popcorn for $5. So it was actually a pretty good bargain. Don't even if you're not even going to the movies, just go in, order it, take it out to your car with you. That's what me and a whole lot of other people did. So that is Hot Topics. I see you guys all in here. See all of you. Well, first of all, let's bring some of my panelists. Well, all my panelists right now, and whoever else has a chance to drop by. We have got special guest Cavern Times, and we have got Vash Sky with us. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
Great, the man with the sounds.
Yeah.
Sorry, headphone users.
Oh no.
The precedent for that Black Panther thing is in World War II. It was T'Challa's father that met Cap retroactively. It was
Oh, okay. See, this is why I got caught.
I agree with Goof right here. The best Black Panther was from Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and the FF cartoon, one appearance he did in the 90s. Those were great ones. And that shot you showed, by the way, Black Panther's mask is horrible. What the hell's got a nose on it for?
Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me go back.
Like
Let me go back.
Just
Let me
saying.
go back. Let me show you. Maybe that's what's throwing me off.
It looks terrible.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
The whole mask looks off.
I don't when they overcomplicate any costumes, especially Black Panthers. This was so cool at first. It was nothing, almost nothing to it. It was just one color, one shape. It was, it was just something was perfect because it was simple. It was, and he could move around in it for one thing. Yeah, so I don't like that. But I'm about modern. Gonna like modern costumes. I admit I'm old.
Modern costumes seem to miss the point of the costume itself. It's supposed to be functional, slick, but not super distracting.
And they're so complicated, and they're all ridgy and armory.
I know it's like I love Tony Stark, but damn, did he really have to have his tracksuit turn into?
Yeah, I love the older armor. I'm a fan of the older armor from the comics.
Bruh. I tell you. Well, speaking of interesting things, first of all, before we get into our other topic, I have got to share this with you guys. So y'all know about Epic Universe, right?
Oh yes,
The
absolutely, 100%.
Universal Park that's coming. They're building this sucker at like warp speed. They must be going back in time and putting this stuff together. But the local TV station got some footage of the Starfall Racers. It's like a dueling coaster that's over in Celestial Park. I'm like,
Wow.
I can't wait. I can't wait to ride this.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't this look amazing right here? Looks like it's being developed by Mac Rides right here. This should have onboard audio from what I expect, and no over-the-shoulder restraints, by the way. So those inversions
Oh,
right
my.
there. Oh yeah, you're gonna be a little free there, for sure.
Is that going to be like the Velocicoaster?
I think that's what
For
they're kind
that?
of going for.
That
Yeah.
looks so much fun. Oh my goodness.
Oh
think it's what they're going
my
for.
gosh, that's insane! Because that one, there's just a piece that like pulls up to your middle.
The
But
amount of
oh.
airtime in some of these hills is outrageous. It just goes over and over and over again. And also too, the that diving inversion right there just looks wicked cool. This thing looks great.
I so cannot freaking wait to ride this. I mean, I know a coaster is awesome when you get to one of those really crazy high inversions and you start rethinking your life decision.
Oh, apparently, the theming is still being applied. Imagine this at night, by the way. Apparently, this is going to have some LED effects on it to make it look like it's traveling through the cosmos. 62 miles per hour, 5,000 feet of track, and 133 foot maximum height right here for this thing. It is awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I can't wait. I think it's Steel, Chef Nation, I believe.
Where is this?
This
It's a new
is going to
place?
be at they're building it. It's at Epic Universe. Universal Orlando has 2 parks right now. Well, technically 3. The Studios, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay. Epic Universe is literally probably more than twice the size of both the Studios and
It's
Islands
huge.
of Adventure.
You could see the single lap bar right there in that shot right there. These are very ambitious attractions right here. Multi-launch coaster for sure. I mean, it's your coaster. The 3-hour wait for 5 minutes of fun, but it's gonna be an amazing 5 minutes. That is for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be that 3 hours when it first opens. I'll tell you that much. But if you're a single rider, you can cut that down by like 2/3. Really, that's
point.
the other secret that people don't tell you. If you're sick and tired of being with your family, get in the single rider line.
Fantastic.
It
That's
will
amazing.
help you out. Yes, I did Goof R35, the Donkey Kong coaster. Yes, the way they have it, it looks like it jumps over.
Wow.
Have you seen the animatic that I think I can't remember who did it, but somebody did a 3D mock-up of it, and the elements that are featured in there looks amazing. That Donkey Kong coaster.
Saw it. I can't wait.
So
I can't wait. Chef Nation, when does the park open? This is just me. Please don't hold me to it. But from the amount of crazy ass construction that's going on, I don't know how many bonuses they're handing out, but it must be huge. I'm guessing it's probably going to be open to pass holders for preview by the end of the year, if not the beginning of January. I honestly think it's going to be by the end of this year, because the Stella Nova Resort, I think that's taking reservations starting January 25th is when you can stay there. And I do plan to stay there. And then Terra Nova is, I think, a month later after that. But the way things are looking now, I mean, it's crazy just how fast the construction and everything is coming along. Even
Right.
in the and Dre, let me know if you've seen this too. For Bio Reconstruct, who's on Twitter, follow him. He gets all these
Absolutely.
cool aerial shots and all that. How to Train Your Dragon. There's like this boat ride that's
Mhm.
got water cannons on it.
Yep. Oh yes. I guess it's a what is it? There's a ride out there, I think in Europe and some other prominent places, in which you battle the shoreline, and the shoreline battles back at you while you're on this boat ride going through your journey right there. And it's a take on that, but obviously How to Train Your Dragon themed. The really cool thing about How to Train Your Dragon The Land is, well, it's all about training you, right? So all of the attractions kind of go into that, play off that theme a little bit. So, you know, it's kind of part of your training regimen to become a Viking of that area right there. So that's where the battle attraction comes into play. Looks very, very cool, very, very fun. And look, Florida is hot, y'all. I don't know if you know this or not, but you know, in the summer there, it can get up there a little bit. So everybody's looking for a nice water attraction to be had. And well, How to Train Your Dragon Land definitely has your back on that one.
Absolutely. HC, no new news. I know they're building it over there, but there's a ton of restaurants you're going to have over there, but definitely one in How to Train Your Dragon Land. So just wanted to show you guys that. And the reason why I am showing you this is to go into our next topic, of course, which is, we shouldn't call it the Daily Dose of Dismal Disney, but honestly, it's starting to get there. I'll just let this roll, and you guys can we'll talk about it.
Filmmaker and Hollywood legend George Lucas is throwing his support behind Walt Disney CEO Bob Iger in that bitter proxy battle between the company and activist investor Nelson Peltz. Lucas, who received 37.1 million Disney shares as part of Disney's $4.05 billion purchase of Lucasfilm back in 2012, is currently the largest individual investor in the company. Multiple sources have confirmed to CNBC. It's not a well-known fact. You can't find this in SEC filings, but Lucas is the largest shareholder. And in a statement provided to CNBC, Lucas wrote, "Creating magic is not for amateurs. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my long-term admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney and Bob's track record of driving long-term value. I have voted all of my shares for Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same." Now, Disney has lined up a number of high-profile endorsements in its battle against Peltz and its firm Trian Management, from the heirs of Walt Disney and Roy Disney to JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. But the support for Lucas, that endorsement is key, not only as Disney's largest individual shareholder, also because of his standing in Hollywood. Lucas wrote and created the Star Wars and the Indiana Jones franchises, which are some of the most popular films in history. And he helped pioneer tools like digital film editing and computer-generated imagery. So what he says matters. I think, Joe, it's particularly key that Lucas said he was relieved when Bob Iger came back, and that is why he has remained a significant shareholder. I think that's pretty important in going through this. And again, they've lined up a lot of different endorsements. This has been a very hard-fought battle already. That proxy battle ends on April 3rd. That's when we'll see what happened with all of this. Lucas saying that he has voted all of his shares, and he's recommending that others do the same.
Wow, y'all.
You can see why we
not have this on my bingo card.
You can see why we introed this with a roller coaster, by the way, because this right here is the ride of a lifetime for sure.
You got that.
Yep.
Man, what? And we're gonna go down this this rabbit hole, and daggone it, I hit the wrong thing. I need to get my darn Steam Deck together. There's a rabbit hole methodology to this, so I'm gonna say something to start off with, and I want you guys to kind of take it. First of all, I did not expect to hear this, and when I did, it just ticked me off. I just got really, really angry for two reasons. One, I'm still pissed that George sold Star Wars to Disney, not license it to Disney and be able to pull that license back. He flat out sold it to Disney. So Disney can pretty much do whatever they want to, which they did, and we all know that basically wiped his ass with Star Wars. Second thing, of all people to bring out on the same day the trailer for The Acolyte drops, they bring out George Lucas. Now here's why this is so suspect to me in part. Your institutional shareholders, they know who, the likes of like JP Morgan are. They, of course, they know, about the Disney kids. Yeah. They don't have any power, they're there. They know about some of their friends on the investor call from the big investment houses. They all know that. They all know each other. Your garden variety shareholders who have like one or two or a couple, holdings of Disney, the ones that Nelson Peltz went after, they don't know those people, but they do know who George Lucas is.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody does.
They definitely know who George Lucas is. That is for sure. And the connections between George Lucas and Wall Street are particularly profound and are absolutely applicable in this instance, because I think that's explains a lot. Because if you read the statement there, if you really look it over, well, it doesn't sound anything like George Lucas. Now, does it look right now?
No, the George Lucas that I see, I meant to say. Wow, am I that predictable?
No, we'll be talking about The Acolyte later. Now, just
we will. We're gonna talk about yet another episode of CSI Star Wars. When we get to it. The George Lucas that I know, he always talked about his humble beginnings. Like he wanted, to invest in film technology, spinning off, THX, Skywalker Sound, ILM, all of those businesses where, he invested in people with vision. There's stuff that you don't know what you're doing. I think, how did he graduate from USC Film School? I'm trying to remember, or was he at USC Film School for a while and then left?
Was it USC or UCLA?
USC.
It was USC. I mean, you see, gotcha. I think he did graduate, but it's unfuzzy.
Yeah, he went to USC Film School, and I remember he was talking about that. And remember how many studios turned Star Wars down?
Oh yeah,
remember that when he was was shopping it, and he was shopping it around, and he was
Alan Ladd Jr. saved it.
Yep,
believed in it. He's the only one.
The only one. Even Universal, who had taken a chance on him with American Graffiti, wasn't looking to back the project.
And if he hadn't brought in Gary Kurtz, there would be no Star Wars really. I mean, it would not be what we. I mean, Gary Kurtz shaped it, along with other people, of course.
Yes, along with his wife,
Marcy. Her editing job was saved the film as well, but the movie still has to get made first. And George did a lot of that, but Gary Kurtz was really a guiding force there, especially that, and then of course later with Empire more so. But yeah, so.
Obviously, his first life, Marcia Lucas, obviously helped in that tremendously as well through the editing process, and just everything about. Yeah. George was such a visionary, not even just in Star Wars, but like you said, Lorena, the advancements in technology and bringing films to life were just profound. This was post kind of golden era of studio when he, the golden era of Hollywood when he came on, and a lot of creators were bound by the studio system, and he was, him and Francis Ford Coppola and Steven Spielberg were definitely guys that were kind of pioneers in kind of the rise of independent media, and the way they just upended the entire thing right there, creating the first blockbusters and so forth. But then taking their successes and turning them into amazing studios. Amblin, even Pixar, right? Pixar came from originally George Lucas.
Yes,
and he was forced to sell it, of course, in divorce proceedings and all that, but
Mhm.
you know, to have it wind up into the fantastic powerhouse that really kind of ushered in Bob Iger's earliest successes with Disney when those assets were purchased via Steve Jobs and so forth. Amazingly profound. This guy has what is it? Revolutionized Hollywood and filmmaking over and over again.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Bobby, you were
ILM
saying.
is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bobby.
No. I agree. I was just agreeing.
Sorry, Lorena. Go ahead.
No worries. I was going to say, ILM is. Do you want to talk about the gold standard of like special effects? That was ILM, Skywalker Sound, Pioneers of Sound, THX. I remember when I was a kid, when in The Simpsons spoofed this, whenever you heard like the THX cue up with the sound, and you're just like, yeah, turn it up. This is so awesome. It's like boom. It was amazing. And all of those people that helped him, and he always seemed to be, it never seemed to be a limitation when it comes to creating magic. And I think that's what pissed me off the most. Again, we're talking on the surface here. Stay with us. There never seemed to be a limitation on creativity when it came from George Lucas. With George Lucas, it seemed like it could come from anywhere, inspiration anywhere. There's nothing. The only limitation was just what you put, on yourself. This was the guy who came up with alien languages by like mixing other languages and things together, stuff that we never would have thought to do. And
Right.
Lucasfilm always seemed to be that kind of place where it was just you bring yourself and your desire to just want to create and just help to create amazing stories, amazing art, amazing special effects, amazing creature effects, just droid effects. There's so many people who went into engineering, like myself, because you see all of the droids that they have in Star Wars. So to hear, again, we're going to put this in quotes, to hear something like this, it makes the warning signs go off, or warning sounds go off. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Clobber in Time.
I don't know. I mean, I just agree with that. Not much to say about it. I don't follow this kind of stuff much, but as many have said, and so much has been said, it's kind of tough to believe it was Lucas that said that. That's all I have really to say about it. And of course, but then again, on the other hand, I've held a grudge against him since 2002 for selling in the first place. I was actually mad at him for the special editions, but this, when he sold, oh man, I'll never understand it. I mean, I'm sure there was some good reason that we'll never know about, maybe, but I've never understood it.
From what I have gathered, George initially he wasn't keen on selling it, right? Obviously, he had carved out Star Wars away from the Hollywood system. Why give it back to the white people owners, as he himself described?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. But from what I understand, it was interesting. Iger and George were having breakfast, I believe, right before their appearance to kick off the opening of Star Tours: The Adventures Continue, back in I want to say 2011, when that attraction opened, Lorena, I believe, at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and they were to make their appearance there on stage for the opening ceremony, and that was then where Bob kind of convinced George, hey, have you ever thought about selling Star Wars? Because I think George was lamenting the fact that he didn't necessarily want the responsibility, and especially as it relates to the fandom and their expectations, to be passed on to his own children. And so I think he was kind of going back and forth and like, if I pass on, what happens to these characters? What happens to these stories? Moreover, what happens to the effects companies that he has helped produce, like Skywalker Sound and THX, ILM, those kind of things? And so I think it's kind of like a Jim Henson almost thought process where it was like, I don't want these characters just to rest with me. I want these to continue and outlive. Want these things to continue and outlive me. So it was. I think there was a sense of duty there in the end. Unfortunately, though, things went awry pretty quickly, as you discovered there, Lorena, in your research leading up to this with the Hollywood Reporter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think about. I'm trying to remember. Did Disney get Marvel first or Star Wars first?
So that's
Marvel.
They got Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel.
Okay, so that's when I bought in again
Right.
at like $30 a share. Yeah, I know, hard to believe. $30 a share. I'm like, oh, okay, I like pretty much what they're doing with Marvel. This was back when the Marvel movies were on point and just everything was just banging. It was great. And George sells Star Wars, to Disney, and I'm kind of like, and if I remember correctly, and Dre, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Universal opened up the Wizarding World of Harry Potter,
right?
I believe.
Yep, 2010.
And people are like, what is Disney going to do to compete? Guess what? We bought Star Wars. That's great.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. We know Bob Iger's MO. He's always about opening, the checkbook of the Walt Disney Company and purchasing assets that they themselves can't create, right? So we saw this with Pixar and that 7-point-something billion dollar deal there, which was just absolutely enormous at the time. Kind of still is when you look at where the company was at that point. But Iger felt that he needed an infusion of talent there, right? So it was really critical that deal take place. And then obviously the Marvel deal, Ike Perlmutter, he definitely has his reservations, and some of the Marvel staff also did it as well. But it was John Lasseter who actually came in and said, "Oh no, don't worry. Disney's on the level. They'll keep you who you are. They just they just want a little bit of return on their investment, obviously." But then came George Lucas, and George Lucas was initially looking at. He was wanting to sell Star Wars for like $7 billion, the same deal that Steve Jobs got. And it was like, no, that's not going to happen. I think the Disney accountants said that Lucasfilm, with all of its assets, were worth anything between $3.5, $3.8 billion. I don't necessarily agree with that valuation, but that's what it was. And George was like, well, let me just at least get the Marvel deal. And that's why it was $4.1 billion, $2.2 billion in cash, and then the rest in stock. That's why, unfortunately, Bob Iger made some very large shareholders. That's why Ike Perlmutter is still in the picture right now, because of that deal that for Marvel right there. But yes, Disney was looking for a Potter swatter, right? After 2010, that shifted the center of gravity in Florida, and the spending really became pretty profound in Universal. Comcast looks at those numbers because they had just acquired NBC Universal at that time, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, hang on here. You guys are making a lot of money. And that's when they start really pouring on the money fire hose and apply it towards their parks division. Meanwhile, Disney, looking to catch up, first did a deal with James Cameron for Avatar, got the Pandora thing started. That was in 2011. And then 2012 was like, okay, we're going big with Star Wars. Now, that's when things quickly go off the rails, though, because it's like, well, which version of Star Wars are we actually going to do? Initially, they were going to do the Star Wars that everybody wanted, based on the original trilogy and so forth, with Ewoks, Tatooine, all that. Bob Iger looks at it and goes, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be relevant going forward. And that's when Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger start to change some things and are adamant that it take place in the new era of the upcoming films. So that's the whole story right there. But as the Hollywood Reporter comes out, George Lucas, he felt betrayed by Disney's Star Wars plans. So it's weird that he would be defending them now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Claudia.
No, I was agreeing. No, I got you. I'm with you.
No, it's because when Disney got their hands on Star Wars, and again, can you imagine being an Imagineer? You're going to get to bring the original trilogy and maybe a couple of things, maybe from the prequel trilogy, maybe as long as it was Revenge of the Sith, to life. Because Star Tours, when you go into the Star Tours attraction, it's like you're on Endor and you have these beautiful reconstructions, of those tall redwood trees. Then when you come out, you're in Tatooine Traders, which used to be shoulder to shoulder full of people trying to get merch, and you got to elbow your way to get through there. And God forbid if Star Wars weekends just wrapped up because you're trying to get the last of the merchandise that that they had there. But when you exited, literally you were on Tatooine, and it was going to continue that. But no, they decided that they wanted to go with the sequel trilogy. The wheels fell off the bus when it came to Star Wars. Galaxy's Edge, I hear so many people just like, I have no idea what this is, but it does not, it does not look like Star Wars. And that's why it just seems so, especially for fans, like a stab in the back. Like, really? Considering what we know, you don't own Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
But this company not only has destroyed Star Wars, but Marvel, Willow, close to the Muppets,
Indiana Jones.
X-Men, Indiana Jones. I mean, how many corpses does Disney have to, get rid of or try to reanimate at the same time?
Yeah, the Grim Reaper, Disney. Thank you.
Yes,
Disney.
that meme. Yeah. Like, the Angel of Death with the set, with the scythe going to the next one.
Well, it's got Jar Jar Abrams on it, but it could just be him or Disney because he's killed his share as well. But
yeah.
It's horrific. I mean, it's so sick and so sad when you see these people. They don't even try to hide it anymore. If you go see that horrible last Indiana Jones film, or
yes, yeah, like anybody, because again, in Hollywood studios, they literally had some kind of mini bar themed to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And people were like, what the heck is this? Oh, look, costumes. No one wants to see the costumes from there. We want to see, the original idol. We want to see Indy's hat and Indy's whip, that type of stuff that we want to see. We don't care about that unless it's Marion's clothes. We do not care.
Yeah.
for the most part. But let's step through this statement. Go down the rabbit hole with us, folks, because your initial impression of being angry is not unfounded whatsoever. But we know something's not lining up. So let's go down the rabbit hole here. So George Lucas swooped in Tuesday, or did he, to support Bob Iger and Disney's proxy battle against activist investor Nelson Peltz. They couldn't say investor Nelson Peltz. Activist investor. Remember, all of these Hollywood trades love Bob Iger. They love him. He's a Hollywood type of guy. Saying no one knows Disney better than its current leaders. Objection.
Yes.
Yeah. Knows Disney, like they know their way around the buildings and stuff. I think. Yeah, because they do. They've been there a lot. They know where all the bathrooms are. All the best.
Bob's got his bathroom in his office.
Oh yeah, he's got.
He can take his 2 showers.
Yes.
If you look at this, if you look at Star Wars alone, right, in a post George Lucas world, the sequel trilogy films earned less money as time went on, and that goes as well for the kind of the offshoot films like Rogue One and Solo, for example. They both earned respectively less money as time went on. We saw depreciation in the viewers watched for the Disney Plus shows that came out, right? Started up really good with Mandalorian, then slowly but surely they've gone down in viewership as well, to the point where only very diehard fans of a specific age group are actually watching them, but they're not necessarily building on audiences there. So that's kind of weird how he would say that the creative leadership there is it's all good there. We're in good shape. We don't even have people on the board that have any media experience at all. Like, what are you talking about? What? This is a very weird thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like they can't even honor Disney's own animation heritage, that rich animation heritage that used to be, until DreamWorks has snapped up the crown now, with respect to animation. I mean, doing things like retheming Splash Mountain from, Brer Rabbit's Tales, an attraction that was just absolutely beloved. Guess what? They're going to reskin that one because they think it's quote unquote, problematic.
Right.
You've got attractions like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which really make no logical sense, nowhere near as good as Snow White's Scary Adventures, which tracked along with the original story. Disney is embarrassed even of its own heritage. The board members are embarrassed of the legacy of Walt Disney. So you can't say Disney they know Disney better, because this current board has, like Dre, like you were saying, no theme park experience, no media experience. These are all technical, sneaker, pharmaceutical, wealth management types of people. This is all that they are. Oh, and I think it was Oracle. I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, Oracle. Yeah.
Oracle as well. So well, database, that makes sense because Disney wants all your information. But none of them, there's no one who's like, say, the level of, hey, I've been a cast member for 40 years. I've trained, I don't know how many people. I have experience running the parks. No one like that.
You have no creative visionaries on here, so I'm not quite sure where George Lucas is coming off and suggesting that there are. There's no one there. It's just a very, very weird argument to make from a person who, he hasn't supported financial institutions before. Certainly hasn't supported studio heads and studio boards before. This is really strange to have this man who has bucked the system at every level multiple times in his career throw his hat into the ring into this Disney establishment that we've seen here.
Yes, he used to encourage fan films too. I mean, he was one he was, before he got butthurt at fans who were bitching too much about the prequels, which he did get a little baby issue about that. But he used to encourage fans and have contests for them and everything. I find it hard to believe that he would just make a statement, that making magic is not for amateurs. Well, you thought it was for amateurs before.
That's insane.
It doesn't seem likely that it's him, but I don't know.
So many people, like Lorena said back there in Clever Time, you bring up an excellent point. Not creating, magic is not for amateurs. Although the amateurs only become experts if they attempt to make magic, which I did. I mean, I made a series of fan films when I was a kid. So this is, again, really bizarre.
It's pathetic.
That was like the thing. I mean, making your own fan film, and I cannot remember the documentary, which one it was, where you had all these people making these Star Wars fan films.
Yeah. The People versus George Lucas. Was that the one? The People versus George Lucas?
Yeah, it may have been.
They did talk about that, the fan films and stuff in that film, but I don't know if that's the one. But yeah, like I said, this, that's such a corporate thing to say. That, leave it to the professionals. Well, how many great filmmakers, but every one of them had to start somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a rotten thing to say, to be honest with you.
But here we go. Yeah, Outcast Graham. Hey, Lance says he forgets that he won once. He was one once, as is every filmmaker. And that's why I brought up how he started at USC Film School. And every interview pretty much that I'd read, he'd talk about his experience in film school and
Right.
preparing him to, go out there and make his own vision. And then, like, I can tell you how many people were like, yeah, I want to go to film school or I want to go to USC film school because that's where George Lucas went to film school.
THX 1138 was made by an amateur. So was American Graffiti. By the
Yeah.
way, so was Dark Star. And then that guy went on to make Alien. So many films. Let's see, Evil Dead 1 was made by an amateur named Sam Raimi. He was an amateur. It's a pathetic thing. It's a horrible thing to say. Really boil down to it.
Absolutely.
And this is why we'll get into it, I'm sure, but this is why a lot of people are believing that this is not necessarily George Lucas's own words.
Nope. Hang on. This is when you're just like, did Pop take his meds? Because that does not sound like you. So let's go down here a little bit more. Let's see. Of course, creating magic is not just for amateurs, Lucas said in a Tuesday statement. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because of my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. Okay, one.
Wow.
Dude, you became a Disney shareholder because that was part of what you got paid for signing over your baby known as Star Wars. That was the consideration that you were given when you accepted that offer and signed on the dotted line. So it wasn't about if you were delighted to become a Disney shareholder, why did you call Disney white slavers?
Yep.
That doesn't jive, right? I mean,
No, it does not. Now, obviously, he does have a connection to Disney going back. Actually, he was one of the first kids to ever go to Disneyland back in '55. That's how far back George Lucas goes right there in his relationship with Disney. But he would never say iconic brand either. That's a weird statement from George Lucas. Now there are some who might say iconic brand, which we'll get into. But I mean, he like you said, Lorena, he didn't become a shareholder because he just so was in love with Disney. That was part of his compensation package for the Lucasfilm assets. So again, it's kind of a weird rewriting of history here.
You know what? I just thought of something. He's talking about his delight at becoming a Disney shareholder. That doesn't sound like someone who has a freaking $1 billion. You know what that sounds like? The person who's like, I scraped up enough money to buy stock in a company that has entertained me and other families for years. I wanted to support part of the magic. So that's why I went out and bought Disney, because of how much I admire the brand, how much the brand has memories for me. And you will have individual shareholders once a year when us plebes are allowed to talk to Bob Iger, to either, blow smoke up his cardigan or take him to task. That one time a year during the shareholders meeting, or he basically tolerates the hoi polloi to come up and ask him questions. That's the type of let's say image that would come from an individual shareholder who took however many hours to drive there. Iconic brand, you already know something's not quite right. And if you thought that was bad, when Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. No one knows Disney better. I don't remember hearing anything from George Lucas at all with Chapek getting fired, Iger coming back. I didn't hear anything from him unless I missed something. Did y'all hear something?
I didn't hear anything. I mean, there were plenty of people to throw stones at Chapek, especially from the Hollywood community and so forth, and creative community, especially. But I didn't hear George Lucas say anything really. about JPEG's leadership?
Nope. I didn't hear a word. Not a word. So yeah, it's just like you start to look at it. It's like, okay, it's really starting to get suspect the more you think about it. But
Oh yeah.
hang on. We're getting there. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney. Bob's track record of driving long-term value. Okay.
Man,
Yeah.
get that gun under
This
his
is
ear.
how you know it's not pop-up.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, shareholder long-term value. When have we ever heard George Lucas use any of these terms before? He's never spoken in a monetary sense almost at all, especially publicly like this. He's a creator, not necessarily a financial guru. Now, there may be those around him that are, but for George Lucas himself, I've always taken him as kind of the Walt kind of creator, whereas money is simply a means to create more things, not necessarily hoarding it for wealth. And especially they believe George Lucas and his spouse have made comments to that to that effect before. So that's weird that he's talking about shareholder value, returns, and all that kind of stuff.
Very, very weird. And CJ, you're getting ahead of us. Getting ahead of us.
Sorry.
It's like when it's like, okay, dude, y'all getting ahead of me with the what's going. But I like where you're thinking, because we're getting there. You can see we're starting to see what's suspect for Pop acting the way that he is. He may have gotten into something that he shouldn't have. So I know. Doubled and triple entendres with that. I have voted all of my shares for Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same. This is this part here. Urge other shareholders to do the same. You don't have to urge the institutional shareholders. They already know. They're all buddies with Iger. They're going to do that. He's talking to the likes of me, or like you, Dre, or like you, Kloppy, whether you're a fan or whether you have those couple of shares, and Trian's been talking, in your ear, vote the blue. Vote blue, Nelson Peltz, we're fighting for all Disney shareholders. Your value is gone like in the toilet. We want to bring that Disney magic back. And that's what they're trying to get here when I hear that statement. And I'm like, none of this seems to make any kind of sense.
Yep.
And
here we go.
I'm sorry, Dre. Yeah, here we go. Because then
it's a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. Because have you heard the term happy wife, happy life?
Yes.
Sure have.
I was married once. I never abided by it, but like I should have. That's just
and the light bulb went off. So apparently my mom gave him a talking to, or threatening, or gave him something to make him agree with her. But I'm just waiting for someone to tell Pop what was put out on his behalf in Rainfire.
Rainfire.
Because it makes no sense. And then Who is George Lucas's wife? All about Melody Hobson. Now I have to thank Jonas J. Campbell over there at that Park Place, which of course Dre and myself are part of that Park Place. He put a tweet out on Twitter, and he said, Melanie Hobson, isn't she involved with J.P. Morgan?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
I forget the name of the guy who was from J.P. Morgan. He's like, yeah, we're all for Iger. Yeah, we're gonna.
Well, let me go ahead and fill you in there, Lorena.
Please
if
do.
you
What do we got here?
This is deeper into this People article that you have so graciously shared with all of us here, and thank you to the likes of Jonas J. Campbell and Valiant Renegade for stitching these things together right here. But People described Melody Hobson as, quote, the native Chicagoan is one of the most powerful women in the business world. In 2020, Hobson was ranked number 94 on Forbes' most powerful women in the world list for her work as the president and co-CEO of the Chicago-based money management company Ariel Investments. Outside of her work at the investment firm, Hobson is on the board of J.P. Morgan Chase & Co. and the Sundance Institute, and is on the board of directors for the Starbucks Corporation and formerly of the Estee Lauder companies right here. She's also former chairperson of DreamWorks Animation, financial contributor to Good Morning American CBS News. She is all over the place right here. But as Lorena was talking about right there, because of her seat on the board of JP Morgan Chase, which she has held since 2018, well, that puts her right up there with Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, last week backed Disney's Bob Iger in the proxy fight with Nelson Peltz. Now, with all of those connections being made, which, by the way, Renegade was the first to publish a video on this with Jonas J. Campbell, MX, and Iron Man, right before Fortune dropped their article saying Jamie Dimon and George Lucas have a common thread that could explain their support for Bob Iger and Disney. Looking at the text, right? Examining the text of what the statement outlined right there, and looking into George Lucas's history and his wife's history, a wife he's had since 2013, by the way. This was right after the Star Wars sale in 2012. It leads me to believe that this may have been his wife behind all of this. His wife is 25 years younger than George Lucas. We've seen how, financial minds or entrepreneurs or creative visionaries who have maybe a love interest who is very much the younger can necessarily manage assets, right? It can manage statements and be representatives on behalf of them when it comes to finances and so forth, and managing their estate. Because George Lucas is 79, he might be declining in health, and maybe Melody Hobson, convinced George, hey, let's go ahead, let's put our support behind Bob Iger and the board right here. This might be better for not just Disney, but also a lot of the goals that Disney seems to have in various spaces. So I'm with you, Lorena. And Clobber in Time, I don't know if you agree with this assessment, but I think this is all Melody Hobson.
Oh yeah,
I do. Go ahead, Clobby.
No, I mean, so I don't study this stuff as much as you guys. I talked to my boy Valiant and Mexican Iron Man to get all my info. I must admit, but no, absolutely all that. You may have seen Mr. Mexican Iron Man was a little hot under the collar about this yesterday with regards to this lady, and it's plausible. Everything you said really makes sense to me. So, what little I know.
So,
George.
Well, you know me. I'm the queen of spicy takes, and Dylan 100%. Because here's a little something else that some of y'all might not know, and I'm gonna switch over to my monitor back real quick. Melody and her husband George Lucas they have a child together via surrogate. Girlfriend is not going to let anything threaten that child's inheritance. Okay. I'm giving you the spicy takes here. Not letting that get threatened. Something happens to George, she's going to be in control of a lot of money for the. He's got other kids too. He's got other kids. It's not about the other kid. It's about her kid with George Lucas. Okay. That's what that is about. So when you have this sugar hubby situation, I'm not going to say how much I know, but I know enough because I've seen enough relatives with this happening. They've got that hot young wife. Guess what? They are not trying to mess that up because that is their street cred. He's got a wife that not only is younger than him, not only is drop dead gorgeous, but girlfriend has been making a lot of her own money for a long, long time. And I believe Dre just mentioned that she's on the board for Starbucks, I believe.
Yeah, the board directors for the Starbucks Corporation.
Starbucks Corporation. Guess who has Starbucks in their theme parks?
Disney. You're right. That is one of the major team ups that Disney has made. I think one of the biggest team ups ever since Nestle and Carnation and all of those kind of things going back to Disneyland's day to put a Starbucks in every single Disney park. That was a big deal and a big initiative by Bob Iger himself.
Yes. And let's not forget the Disney Starbucks merchandise, like the 50th anniversary tumblers for $50 that people were fighting over.
$50?
Yes.
The Emporium, okay. Throwing down, to blows, the
50.
Oh, go ahead, my dear.
Wow. I was like 50.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Girlfriend
and there were
is
Star Wars themed cups as well.
It's a tumbler.
Star Wars theme. They got, I forget what is it called. It's like the what is that? The Been There collection. They've got Starbucks mugs for Tatooine, for Andor, for Coruscant. There's Star Wars Starbucks merchandise, parks Starbucks merchandise. I mean, the amount of Starbucks merchandise that is park related is insane. Now, I mean, Universal, they have Starbucks, but it's kind of like, it's in their, in their hotels, Starbucks kiosk, and they have, one or two, think about 4 locations, but they look like your regular Starbucks pretty much that you just scroll into and get your stuff and whatever. No. The Starbucks at Walt Disney World. Okay, let's see. They've taken over. It's not the ice cream parlor. I'm forgetting what that used to be in the Magic Kingdom before it became a Starbucks.
Ooh, let me see if I can do a little bit of on-site
because there's one there at the Magic Kingdom. I know that's
Absolutely.
a time suck, so I don't go over there. The Trolley Car Cafe over in the studios, that is a Starbucks. Animal Kingdom also has a Starbucks that's there. And Epcot, the Creations Cafe.
Yep.
That is a Starbucks.
Yeah. The looks like it took over the bakery, if I'm not mistaken, in Magic Kingdom.
Okay, yeah, that's why I'm pissed.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I'm pissed.
Starbucks took over the Market House at Disneyland's Main Street. Also, the Disneylandia store, which was so awesome, had so much unique merchandise and so forth. Had a great kind of rotunda room there that had been there since the 1950s. Unfortunately, that was all taken out for the Starbucks inclusion right there, and for the relaunch of the 2012 or version 2 of California Adventure that would launch in June of 2012. They put in a Starbucks next to on Buena Vista Street. So for when that opened, boom, it opened with that. So this is an interesting connection, and we know that Bob Iger isn't above let's say, doing favors for friends, right?
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
that's really interesting. I never made that connection, but you're right. You're totally
This
right about that.
chick is well connected. She went to what was it, Princeton?
Princeton. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's called "Yeah, Honey, You Belong to Me." We're going fishing. That's exactly what that dress is saying right there.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm being sexist because it can be.
It's
Can
almost,
be.
yeah, it's almost as if you're saying they can really make ends meet. They really don't not hurting all that bad.
Oh no, they are not hurting for money, and this is completely a power play on her part. George, I'm friends with Bob. Okay. I'm gonna need you to play nice with Bob. Not gonna be screwing up your kids' money, right? Right?
Mhm.
But Star Wars doesn't belong to you anymore. So you don't want to be on the wrong side of history, do you?
Oh no, I sold it, but can I get it back? No. I think I made a mistake. Those white favors, whatever I called them. Stole it from me.
Yeah.
But you can see, I mean, Lorena, you make a great point here, and this is kind of the angle that I kind of look at it as well. Is like, well, wait a minute. Disney has been a big champion for all of these, let's say, goals when it comes to diversity, inclusion, and equity. We don't want to be on the wrong side of history and not necessarily support them in this effort right here. Peltz isn't about that, but we can ensure that Bob Iger is, and the selections that he's made on the board, including these two candidates that are up for the vote, are. So there's like a lot of there is a lot of incentive for this to have happened. That doesn't necessarily include what George Lucas himself wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
Especially when she is 25 years younger than you are. And the way that she's connected, this makes 100% total, absolute sense. And if you don't think that that's in play, I'm sorry, you are woefully ignorant about how things go in Hollywood. I have met way too many trophy wives. And is DL Fendel in chat? Met way too many trophy wives in Hollywood who,
oh my,
yeah, they run things. I'm just like, what? Really? They do that? It's like, yeah, of course you do that.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
That is exactly it. 100%.
Oh my.
So, yeah. That is, man, that's literally what's going on. Do not discount that. You always have to look at one of my favorite lines from the Dune 1984 movie. There are plans within plans.
Yes.
And that's what you've got going on right now. I mean, we talked about this, earlier, this article from 2019. George Lucas felt betrayed by Disney's Star Wars plans. There's a video that's out there where George just looks like I don't freaking want to be here. I don't.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's like I don't want to be. It's like I don't. It's like I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to be here. He said, Disney bought Star Wars. That's not his Star Wars. And I think that interview that he did, I think at a school in Harlem, that got yeeted off of YouTube after word got out. So it's like it does not make logical sense that George would just make statements like that.
And the reason why we're seeing this report in the Hollywood Reporter is because it was sourced from The Ride of a Lifetime, Bob Iger's memoir right there. So this comes directly from him. Mr. Buck Stops here, Bob Iger, talking about the languishing of the Star Wars brand and how we're gonna relaunch it. Well, obviously, 5 years later, that's not necessarily been the case. But George, as illustrated in this article here, apparently he felt like the article says, betrayed by the fact that they didn't go with his scripts and treatments for 7, 8, and 9 that he had right there. And Bob Iger, in his words, made it clear to him that there wasn't any contractual obligation to go along with those treatments. And I guess he had a meeting with Kathleen Kennedy. They talked about it, and they said, nope, we're going a different direction. And that's when George apparently was crestfallen, that they weren't necessarily going to go to him when it came to the maturation process for Star Wars under the Disney brand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, if you think that George didn't know better than Disney, maybe some of y'all have seen my reaction to this trailer for the Acolyte, which go ahead, Kalami.
Oh no, I'm just looking at that and groaning. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was groaning too, and I can tell just from the trailer that I saw that just like with the Book of Boba Fett, just like with Kenobi, just like with what the heck was that darn thing called, Ahsoka, I have a laundry list of grievances. This isn't even out
And that's
yet.
just for the trailer.
And that's just the trailer. I mean, when I watch this thing and I'm looking at all of these younglings, literally what I said in my review was, aren't they supposed to be getting whacked by now? It doesn't make sense. And the member berry that they start out with, don't, your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them. I'm like, are we using that member berry again?
No.
Yeah, they ironically they tell all the youngins to close their eyes, but at 1 minute 10 seconds, you'll see an alien who literally doesn't have any eyelids. So it's like but I can't though, teacher. Or maybe it wasn't there. It was where I'll find it for you. Don't worry. But
okay. I was
yeah, they're right there. Yeah.
Like that's not going to work on boyfriend back there. Let's see.
A little bit right there.
Yeah. It's not going to work. What is the? I mean, do we have to like? Do we have to like? Do we have to take its word for it?
Hey, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I don't have lid thingies, so can you like get some duct tape or something? I don't know. What am I doing here? Blindfold me? I don't know.
So I guess there's so many things to say about this trailer. First of all, the Force is definitely female. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
And it's supposed to take place 100 years before the Phantom Menace, which is really strange because we see a red lightsaber included at the very end of this clip, which
oops.
I don't know. I remember a council being called with Qui-Gon Jinn and they're talking about how Darth Maul had made an appearance and Mace Windu and others going, oh, that's strange. There's a Sith Lord. The Sith haven't made an appearance in a millennia. In 1,000 years. So what the heck is a red lightsaber wielding Force user in this part of the timeline? It literally doesn't make any sense.
Oops.
No.
Oopsies.
I'm just like, is this like a fever dream, a hot fever dream, or what? I don't know what's going on, but it's like I said, it's another episode of CSI Star Wars that's obviously lore breaking. And even if you're a normie, and this is the thing that Disney does not seem to understand. Even normies are just like, I don't recall any of this. No link to the original or the prequel trilogies. There's nothing to keep me, to watch this. And it seems like they're going back and trying to pull stuff out of the EU. Now, one of the things about the EU books is that you would have a description like it is for this show, but it would be one of the characters that we care about.
Right.
Whether it was Luke, whether it was Lando, whether it was Han Solo, even if it was just a droid, it was some kind of link.
Connective tissue.
There-
Exactly.
Somebody we know. Who do we know?
100%.
Yeah, who is in this that we know?
Yes, exactly.
Nobody.
Exactly.
right?
Like, ooh, new Han
Even-
Solo book. Yeah.
I wasn't big on Andor and everything. I barely got through the first few, but I mean, at least even he was known to an extent. Not very much, mind you, but he was in a movie at least. Are any of these characters at all established?
No, we're leading with the main, I guess the main Jedi Master, Lee Jung Jae. If you don't know that name, dude was from Squid Game.
Okay.
So literally, you have him and Amandla Steinberg, and a whole bunch of other chicks.
Yeah, who we don't know.
There we go.
I mean,
right
Don't know and don't care about.
As characters, we don't know them, yes, at all. And maybe they'll stick some kind of. Oh, it's like 100 years ago. I was thinking maybe they would stick some kind of a cameo in there, but I guess they can't do that now, can they? Unless it's Yoda, and they'll probably do that.
And while Lorena, you give Jay all the credit in the world for those 5 Reina Creole memberships right there.
Yay!
So much, Jay. I sure do appreciate that, because if you're opted in, make sure you're opted in for memberships, because we get generous people like Jay who gift these memberships, and you have the chance to actually get one gifted to you. And if you don't, hey, membership started at $1.99. And one of the favorite things that we do for memberships is our movie club or roast parties of certain series, starting with Ahsoka. And yes, we will definitely be doing it for the Acolyte for sure. So thank you so much, Jay. You are an awesome supporter of my channel, and I sure do appreciate the heck out of you for that. Thank you for that segue, Dre. I appreciate that.
What a thing to show. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. One thing, and I'll throw it back to you, Clobbern. You can see the like to dislike ratio at the bottom of your screen right there. Not very good.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
that's fantastic. I should go over there and hit the red there.
Well, yeah, all right. I'll go ahead and I'm not signing into this account. I'll tell you what. I mean, are there good things in this trailer? Yeah, there's some good things. Fight choreography, doing the whole kind of what is it, Asian martial arts kind of thing. I think that's kind of a cool thing, right? One that we haven't necessarily associated with Star Wars before, but in certain lore, definitely comes up. So that's kind of cool. But other than that, though, I mean, because this is inconsistent with necessarily the fundamentals of the timeline right here, the fact that Leslie Headland has made some interesting statements, which we'll get into right here. Narratively similar to Andor, 8 episodes around 30 minutes, pitches a multi-season show, incorporates EU and Legends lore, didn't use the volume VFX at all during filming. I don't know. I'm not feeling this one, guys.
That's got me all excited to see that.
I'm not. I mean, the trailer was slick. I'll give you credit for the trailer. Trailer looks slick. Some of the outfits for the costuming actually looks pretty good. Ahsoka, the costuming was ass. So really, it was bad. Yeah. It was really bad. But with the Acolyte, it's pretty obvious that they actually, I don't know, I guess they took some of that Andor money and used it, for the trailer, which on its own, if I knew nothing about Star Wars, if I didn't care anything about Star Wars, it's intriguing for what it is. But as a Star Wars fan, I don't know what the heck this is. I don't know any of these people. I don't care about any of these people. The trailer doesn't make me care. I probably care to see what happens to them. Hopefully they meet an untimely end, or do they survive being stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber?
Well, the women will.
yeah. Qui-Gon will not, but if you happen to be of the right gender, yeah, sure.
Force is female. That's why it happens.
That's true.
Yeah.
Carrie-Anne Moss is the only actor and actress that I even recognize. Ray Winston's in it. Yeah, I forgot. Rest his soul. That poor guy was in 2 lousy Star Wars films, TV shows after he died. Wow, what a way to go out, man.
It's so bad. And yeah, Dylan, the fact that they're going to drop 2 episodes, because you know what's going to happen, because this is what they keep doing. The first episode will be freaking abysmal. And then the second episode will try to pull it out of the fire to say, hey, come back, and watch it. Yeah, I'm quite suspect.
Don't fall for it, gang. It's a trap. There you go.
That's right. Don't fall for the okie doke.
Yeah.
Now we definitely have to get into what Leslie Headland has been talking about here, because she's really been something.
Well, let's remind people. Leslie Headland, aka Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant. Let's keep that connection there.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Now, she recently spoke to the Hollywood Reporter right here. Star Wars: The Acolyte's creator Leslie Headland talks unique perspective of her upcoming series. The writer-producer says the series, set 100 years before The Phantom Menace, will have a Rashomon like quality to its storytelling right here. Now,
what the heck is that?
I guess it's supposed to be multiple perspectives. Is that right, or something or another?
I hadn't heard of that one before.
Yeah. It's very, I don't know. You associate a series that has not come out yet with something that's actually popular and is successful. So there you go.
Yeah, gotcha.
Now, these things might, make you a little bit weary if you're a Star Wars fan. Russian Doll co-creator Headland's first job as a writer was on FX's short-lived cult classic series Terriers, 2010, and her first produced TV script, Manifest Destiny, happened to be directed by Star Wars: The Last Jedi filmmaker Rian Johnson. Headland was not only inspired by Johnson's work, but by his demeanor on set. Quote, "I love Ryan," says Headland. "He was the first director I ever watched work, so getting to see him work on the show was, oh my God, it was a dream," Headland recalls. "He was so kind and so quiet, and yet he was so clear about what he wanted. He never seemed stretched out, and I wish I was more like him. He's like the patron saint of calm directors." Okay. This is the gal, folks. She's a Rian Johnson fan. Oh boy, that's gone so well in the past.
Oh yeah, that's gonna go over like a lead balloon with Star Wars fans. Like,
Yeah.
Rian Johnson.
Right. Oh my goodness. Red alert.
Now there's more. Andrew creator Tony Gilroy proved that you don't necessarily have to be a lifelong Star Wars fan to be a great Star Wars storyteller. This is the interviewer asking Headland this question. So I thought you made a wise choice by having a varied writer's room with fans of different eras and then someone who has never flocked to it at all. Leslie Headland says, "Yeah, I just thought it would be good to have the perspective of a person that's literally never seen Star Wars until she was in the room. She said to me, quote, 'Why do you want me in the room? I've never seen Star Wars. I have no idea. I think there's like a dog in it. I don't know anything.' Says, and I was like, first of all, you're an incredible writer, but that's why I want you here. I want you to be questioning the narrative. I don't want myself, who's a lifelong fan, to be relying on particular references in order to create emotional beats. I want those emotional beats to be earned and checked by someone who isn't super familiar with it." She says, and it was really funny too because she finally watched the original trilogy over that Christmas. Remember, she's in the writer's room at this point. She watched the prequels too, but then kept texting me about the original trilogy and was like, "Luke and Vader are all those things that we've known forever that are mind-blowing." And she was like, "Luke and Leia are brother and sister? What the F?" And she was writing all these things to me, and I just thought it was so funny. So she educated herself in order to be in the room, but it was really fun to have somebody like her to help collaborate. She's a fan of bringing people in who have never been fans.
Yes.
I remember. I'll let you go, Cobb, in a second.
No, go ahead.
This is gonna blow your mind. I want to say a couple years ago, I guess when Leslie Headland burst on the scene, connected with the Acolyte, there was an interview with her. And I forget who it was. I think it was on E! And they were like, "Oh, here you're gonna, direct new Star Wars movie. So what's your favorite Star Wars movie?" She said, I don't know, all of them.
Oh my God.
This is what she said.
Wow.
Not, I haven't had a chance to watch them yet. I'm excited to find out what my favorite movie is going to be. I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. There wasn't that eagerness. It was just like, I don't know, all of them. No true Star Wars fan says all of them. You have your absolute favorite, and you cling to that sucker.
Yeah, you can make a list even. Yeah.
Yes.
No, and she recently said this same line on the red carpet. Interestingly enough, quite recently, she said, she was asked, "Oh, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't really have a favorite movie. I just kind of want to be in the universe." And it's like, okay, hold on a second. That's a red flag. Every Star Wars fan, has their favorite movie. This is the same as Kathleen Kennedy being asked anything about Star Wars, like particular references and questions, and how she can't necessarily formulate an answer because she herself is not a Star Wars fan, right? It's kind of the same energy right there. But go ahead, Clobberin.
Oh no, I was going to say that I can, at least the person that she brought in that didn't have any, asked the same question, like, well, what do you want with me? I've admitted I'm not into it. And her reasons are stupid that she gave her. But so to that person's credit, I don't know if it was a he or she or whatever, did the homework, watched the movies and had questions about it, was interested. So no fault there. If that person was a good writer, it's still suspect that you bring them in. It was similar, when Harv Bennett and Nicholas Meyer got the job for Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, neither of them knew anything about Star Trek. They were not Star Trek fans, and they went and got every episode and watched them. And did a fine job, obviously. But so there's no shame in like not being a fan of something. But if you're given that job, I've heard other times where someone's gotten a job to be involved with something that an established property that they didn't know of, and others will say, "Yeah, but I didn't go back and watch this or that. It just, I didn't." That kind of stuff drives me up the wall, including when James Gunn, that jackass, told was it John Cena when he made Peacemaker? Cena went and bought the comics, and so you only read these comics, right? Because I'm playing the character, and Gunn ordered him not to. He didn't let him do it. I'm like, okay, it's just so he was interested, and so yeah, the woman went and did the homework. Everybody's going to be the person. I'm sorry, I just assumed it was a woman because of what she did, and because Leslie hired the person. So I'm assuming it had to be a woman.
Well, let's go into how Leslie actually got the job, because as we know, Kathleen Kennedy, during the recent, the last, I should say, Star Wars Celebration, when asked, what's your qualification process for having creators contribute to the Star Wars universe via these film and television medium, Kathleen Kennedy said, well, it really depends on what you have to say. That was her qualification thing. Not that you're a Star Wars fan, not that you have a intriguing story to add to the universe. No, it's what you have to say. That is very, very key right here. When asked about the Cliff Notes version of the pitch, she says this: the Cliff Notes version is that I love Star Wars. I absolutely adore it. And as soon as Russian Doll came out, I was like, I'm calling Lucasfilm. That's where I want to work. That's what I want to do. So I pitched to them. My elevator pitch was Frozen meets Kill Bill, which I said at Star Wars Celebration, and I went through what I believe to be a rough season one outline and then an overall series Bible, essentially. And Kathleen Kennedy bought it in to the room and said, I love it. I want to start working on it. And we did. We did a lot of development on scripts, and, well, you get the idea right there. So Frozen meets Kill Bill.
Oh, boy.
Gets the thumbs up from Kathleen Kennedy right there. This is the people behind the Star Wars universe going forward.
Nice. Can't wait.
Yeah.
And
nice. In a tracksuit, yellow tracksuit.
I find this particularly ironic, too, because we know that Leslie Headland in the past has said that anybody can be George Lucas, essentially, right? This is from Batting into Comments written by John F. Trent, now at that Park Place, by the way. The Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland points to Star Wars creator George Lucas as an example of misogyny of the auteur myth right here. But she specifically says, let me just go ahead and...
Sexist pig, George Lucas, yeah.
Right? Headland asserted that This is like what we understand to be Star Wars. The idea that like it can only come from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. So the precursor to the prequels that she has disparaged right there is being worked on by this woman via the Acolyte. Again, this should all give you pause when it comes to this show right here. And even her casting decisions are bizarre. For example, she talks about how, okay, why did Daphne Keane was cast in this? Her interview with Entertainment Weekly says, I just wanted to see X-23 with a lightsaber in their hand, so that had to happen. That was her qualification.
What?
Well, she was X-23. She was in the movie Logan.
Right.
She played X-23 in that.
Right.
The kid.
Yep. So that was it. It's like, we got to have her because I saw her in something that I liked.
There you go. That's a good reason.
I saw her look cool, and you know what? We're gonna do it in this show. We're gonna do it in this show, and if you don't like it, you're a misogynist.
She's literally...
Give me a massage. Sorry.
She comes at this like she's playing with dolls right here. I mean, really, it's just...
She really does.
Right.
It's like this. The reverence is missing. Like if somebody said, hey, you get to do a Star Wars show, and I'm just like, where am I gonna start? I don't know. There's so many things. I would literally be locked in a room. Like, where's my favorite parts of this? What if they have this story? What if they had that story? You know, not the I like all of them. It's like, no, there's specific movies for specific reasons that you like, and I just want to see this character just to see it, you know. Just to throw that out there. Nothing like there was this moment that I saw either in A New Hope or this moment that I saw in Empire, or my favorite, this moment that I saw in Revenge of the Sith, where we knew Anakin was gone and he wasn't coming back. And, you know, it's those parallels back, or those paths back to the original lore, and having the respect and feeling just how weighty it is of being able to, you know, work on a Star Wars show. These people treat it as if it's just a box to tick off on their way to something else. And that kind of just disrespect, that really rubs me the wrong way. It's like that. But then again, that disrespect also comes from the top with Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh yes.
So I can't really blame her for being that way, but it's despicable. And yet when the fans reject it, you know, there's something wrong with the fans. No, if there's nothing wrong with us, nothing wrong with you.
This is why it's so crucial to have Kathleen Kennedy kind of express herself as whether or not she's a fan, because you know, it's become very clear now that Kathleen Kennedy was not herself ever a fan, but wanted to reimagine the franchise going forward as something that she could be a fan of, which is why she's handed it off to these creators who have treated it like a sandbox in which to play in, but not necessarily having the respect for what came before. So it's like, you know, who cares? This is why Rian Johnson makes the creative decisions that he makes, and why Leslie Headland is making the creative decisions that she makes. Even if they say they're necessarily fans. I mean, look, she says she's a fan of the EU or whatever, has, you know, she read the books and stuff like that. Okay, name a book. Name a book series that you like. You know, you could have even said the Thrawn trilogy if you didn't necessarily know better, but I have
She never heard of it.
Right? I have my favorite books going that connected to the Star Wars universe, you know, the Jedi Academy books, the Vision of the Future by Timothy Zahn right there. Excellent stuff. Hey, could have gone into the Yu Zhong Wong invasion, stuff like that, and how that you could have said anything. She does not, because she's not a fan.
No, she's not a fan. And let's face it, neither are these people in entertainment media asking these softball questions.
Yeah.
Because if you are a fan, you're going to challenge them on what it is. Really? You don't have a favorite movie? Everyone's got a favorite Star Wars movie. Come on now. Everybody's got one. that type of pushback and that check is not happening, because all of these articles, and you'll start to see them, especially when the spread comes out in Vanity Fair. And of course, it's already started with the Hollywood Reporter, where they start glamorizing the Acolyte, where it's coming out. They're getting a lot of softball questions, because the audience for this, with these types of articles, are not Star Wars fans. These articles are written for the folks in Hollywood. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
And
it.
this just kind of personifies your point here, Lorena, I believe, because there are fundamental tenets of Star Wars that should be adhered to, because in the end, those Joseph Campbell writings and so forth are so pivotal to the foundational principles that make Star Wars what it is. And I think there have been efforts to maintain that in some respect. But, well, here you go right here. Leslie Hetland says, when talking about the moral ambiguity of this series, people who are good guys can be bad guys, and people who are bad guys can be good guys. There's a lot of moral ambiguity, which is why Jody's Turner Smith's line in the trailer is so important. This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it. And I believe, of course, that the Jedi are a benevolent, well-intentioned institution, but they are an institution that have amassed all of this power. So the question becomes, when did that happen? And since we know what we're headed into with the Phantom Menace, what went wrong? Again, this isn't about necessarily the tenets of the Jedi and the Sith and evil versus good and so forth. These are this kind of obsession with power. This is a progressive ideal, not necessarily a founding principle of Star Wars as it exists with Joseph Campbell. So again, this is the kind of the headspace with some of these creators right here, and this is why I just don't have any necessarily faith in this series going forward right here, because it's, the creatives have kind of, let's say, poisoned the well, so to speak, with their own biases and principles going into this.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the universal tenets of a story, especially of a great film, is that struggle of good versus evil. And that's why, again, I love The Empire Strikes Back. Listen, that's like my number one movie. Second
Me
one is
too.
Revenge of the Sith. Why? Because you start to see that push, like, I know the dark side. I know I shouldn't go to the dark side, but the dark side is so seductive, and but she makes it sound so good. But no. Jedi taught me this, that I have to be this way. But if I stay that way, I can't have what it is that I want. And we like to see our characters struggle to find out what side are they going to fall out on. And that's been all through Star Wars. That's that fight that we want to see. It's not about it's not about power. We already know that. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Again, Emperor Palpatine, before they cloned him. But anyway,
yeah.
we see that. It's been talked about. But
right.
Yes, when that power starts to, that evil power starts to gather, you see the forces of good start to gather, as well. I'm just really sick and tired of these like fence sitter types of stories. That's like, oh, we can't have a villain. The villain is just fear, or the villain is just someone that was misunderstood. It's just like, no, that's not it, and that's not the draw of Star Wars. And this series, yeah, you're going to hear Bob Iger talk about how great it's going to be, but he's not going to talk about how that sucker's getting ratioed to hell.
Yeah. Yeah, here you go, guys, right there. Whoops. Not good.
So not good. Wow. That is just...
come to think of it, when I did see an interview where Leslie did talk about the movies a little bit, she said she thought one of her most powerful scenes was when Darth Vader told Han Solo that it was his son, or he was his father or whatever. And then she loved it when Leia destroyed the Death Star and Amidala fought the Emperor and Senate, stuff like that. So she's definitely big time in the movies. Just you didn't see that? You didn't see the interview?
No, I missed that one, and it was probably a good reason why I didn't, because I probably would have thrown something at my TV. I would have thrown
There's only
something.
there's a limit to how much cringe we can take. Is that right, Lorena?
Yeah, there
Don't
there
test
is.
Disney now. Don't challenge Disney. Please.
That's a good point.
Oh yeah, we probably haven't seen nothing yet, but yeah, this is going to be real interesting when this show comes out,
Oh boy.
because just like with the Ahsoka, I am not giving it any quarter whatsoever.
Mhm.
So speaking of other things that I had, of course, a morbid interest in, because just like I was telling Claudia, and the main reason why I wanted him on the show until George Lucas decided to torpedo what I was gonna talk about,
Damn you,
which
Lucas.
is I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say.
Oh no. It's just
Please
yeah. I mean, first of all, with the original X-Men cartoon, and of course, you guys, you've seen it in my intro. I used to watch that over and over and over and over again. Watching the animated series held me over between when I could scrape up money to, buy the next X-Men comic book at the 7-Eleven, get like my big gulp, my bag of Skittles, and the money left over to get like an X-Men comic book. But I loved the series. Absolutely loved the series. So hearing that this X-Men 97 was gonna come out, the trailer, I'm kind of like, I guess y'all don't have much of a budget for animation, do you? But it's like, okay, if the story is good, okay, fine. You can kind of overlook that. But main reason I have Clavi on here is because he is my comics consigliere. I actually brought out like parts of my old collection, and I'm like, Clavi, where's this one come from? Because I hadn't seen it in ages, but he knows so much. So jealous, comic book store, all of that. So if anybody's opinion about X-Men 97, I would appreciate more than me seeing it myself, would be clobbering time. So my dear, have you seen X-Men 97? And if so, what is your absolute unfiltered opinion?
Well, I'll keep it non-spoilery, I guess, but I can do that. I can do it without spoilering it. I did.
Yeah, let's do it non-spoilery.
Yeah, it dropped from my time zone. It dropped for 2 a.m, and so I did watch it. I was curious. I used to. Again, I was old enough to where I didn't get a chance to watch it every Saturday morning when it was airing. I was working a lot, but I would record it. I've watched it for a while. Full disclosure, I like the X-Men, but there are a lot of other, comics that I was more into, but I did buy them during their heyday. The first Wayne Claremont Cockrum run, then the Claremont Bird run was my favorite. After that, I stuck with it for a few years, and eventually into the mid '80s, dumped it. I just got a little sick of the Claremont's writing and stuff like that. So by the time this cartoon was put together, they had one little pilot cartoon called Pride of the X-Men that didn't make it. Then they started all over with the Fox cartoon. By the time this came around, the comic had changed quite a bit over the years. And this roster, I wasn't super fond of this roster. Only that I can't stand Gambit and I can't stand Jubilee. I don't get in trouble for that, but I don't like them. I wanted Colossus and Nightcrawler. And again, I'm such a nitpicker. Cyclops is my favorite X-Men. That gets me in trouble. I don't like his costume in this. I love Storm, and I hate her costume in this new one, by the way. Look at her hair. It's awful. I hate the punk hair to think of her. Again, that's just geek aesthetic stuff, right? But I watched the cartoon and a little bit here and there. So about a year or two ago, I went back and binged it all because I had never got a chance to do that fully. I wanted to do it at an advanced old man's age so I could form an opinion on it. And it was fun. There were some problems with a lot of they adapted the comics here and there loosely, and there were times I didn't like the way they adapted them. But it was kind of fun to watch. And of course, that opening theme is iconic. It's one of the greatest. It's such love it. And the last season or so had some really. They went to a cheaper animation company, had really cut rate terrible animation in that last season. But the last episode ended on something of I want to say maybe so much of a cliffhanger, but a very, very well, this isn't spoilery because if you saw that, this continues from it where Professor X died in the last episode of the original series. This picks up just a few months after that or whatever. So it is that's why it's called X-Men 97. They've dropped the first 2 episodes, of course. They're going to be 8, I believe. My thoughts basically on this is because, as you may or may not know, the quote-unquote showrunner or the guy who was the main writer on the show got fired like last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got disappeared.
Yeah, and we don't know. There's been no official, answer out there as to why.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another story. But he did, and he had so much DEI armor that it's astonishing. So that's something crazy went on. But anyway, he and others have made some statements about this. People who worked on the show made some statements that made this a big red flag. A lot of fans who would like to have seen the spring brought back were really getting nervous when some of the things being said by people. I'm sure you both been, if you've been keeping up with it, we were thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to be wokety woke and all that other kind of stuff. The first 2 episodes, I have some issues here and there, but so far, they're okay. The animation is. It's difficult to put my finger on. The animation itself was good, but the art direction, not so much. And what I mean by that is the visual, the art. It doesn't look as bad as what you're seeing here. It's actually looks okay. But there's something slightly off about it for me. Although actually some of these current DC things they've been doing, these DC films are way worse. So the animation, they definitely made an effort to be a retro throwback to the old cartoon. And to make it feel and look just like it. And they've gotten pretty close. Are there modern day bits in this, even though it's taking place, quote unquote, in 1997? Yeah. And are there slivers of, and maybe signs and portents in some ways of the wokeness that is to come? Yeah, I'll put it to you like this. If it stays at this level, because there are a couple of lines here and there. You go, oh, they're groaners. Oh, that's from that idiot who wrote this thing that sounds like he's trying to say something. But the first two parts is, for the most part, very much like the old cartoon. If you remember the old cartoon, it was a soap opera, just like the X-Men comic book. It's every week. They have to have a big recap saying, previously on X-Men.
Yes. I'll be like, yes, it's what I missed last time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'll give him this because I do believe the great Larry Houston, who was instrumental in the old show. He worked in animation forever. He did a couple of my favorite cartoons. And even, he is a guy that really loves and knows this stuff and knows his comics. He was still involved in this. And I think he was instrumental in making it look and feel as close to the old one as you remember it. So, it seems the theme, like I said, they reorchestrated the theme a little bit, and it's different slightly, but it's still good. It's just, takes a little getting used to. Cal Dodd's back as Wolverine's voice, and it doesn't sound like he missed much. I mean, so it's pretty cool, which is good. Storm's hair looks, well, I don't know why, but everybody looks okay. I mean, not enough to ruin it, but it is slightly different. But I think that last season had really cheap ass animation. This is not so much. So, and the story, everything in the story, the 2 parts, is stuff that's carried on right from the old cartoon, which left sort of a cliffhanger and stuff. And everything in there, and just story wise, is stuff that that had been covered on the old cartoon. We've got Sentinels, we've got Bolivar Trask and Peter Gyrick, and we've got even the Morlocks are in it a little bit, and it's just mentioned. And Magneto, which again, one geek complaint is I hate his costume. He's had like 50 different costumes in comics, and they picked the worst, most asinine one they could. I hate him. And of course, this is good Magneto, so I hate it even more, but that's just me. But it's, if you are a fan of the old one, right now, remember, only 2 episodes. There's a line or 2 in that last episode in Magneto's speech to the UN that kind of, without spoiling it, that kind of, you can see the cracks coming. Like, is this one of these things where they're gonna, kind of leave us, at first make us think we're kind of okay, and then the next couple of episodes we're going to start hitting them in the face with the on your nose stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know, but Hollywood's always done that. I mean, it's not like, you know, even when they were making good stuff, they put messaging crap in good stuff way before. So, if you're a fan of the old show, you might think the first two are okay, middling to okay, and who knows?
Mhm.
I'm going to give them a shot and watch all of them. So if you have time or nothing else to do, I don't know if you'll like it as much as the old one. I don't know if it'll make you feel the nostalgia of the old one or not, but you can see the attempt trying to make it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. If
Okay.
any of that makes any sense, and I hope it made a little bit.
Well, in your view, Clobber, and I think a lot of people are maybe concerned that characters aren't necessarily going to act consistent with their 90s counterparts, right? From your
Yes.
view, having seen the 90s television show, binging that, and now seeing these two episodes right here, do you feel that these characters are at least consistent with where we left them?
So far, yes. Beast is, I mean, some of the voices sound just like they used to and stuff. But we hear some rumblings that Morph is gonna. It might be hearsay that, you know, Morph and Wolverine have always been friends, but people talk about something. Morph is gonna get kind of weird with. In this one, he's acts like he always did. He was barely on the old show at first, and he came back for a while.
Yeah, I didn't even remember, dude. I'm like, who?
Yeah, he's not much, and he's gonna be used, you know, for. That's what I fear. I think they're going to be using for some messaging, but because he can change into anything,
Mm-hmm.
a la Mystique or whatever. You know, so.
Okay, good to know.
They're doing some interesting. I mean, again, it's got all the soap opera stuff for the old show. A lot of, I mean, the old show. I said the show, the comic as well. They came from the comic, and so it looks very close to and feels very close to like that one. Again, if hardcore fans of the show will have to watch it and make up their mind. I would say to them, if you have access to it, and you know, and you are curious, you know, you can at least watch the first two and see, make up your mind if you think you want to continue with it. But I thought they were, again, okay, not full of a lot of messaging yet. You can see a little bitty, you know, especially the second episode. Like I said, a couple of allusions to some things, but so far, I hope if it stays just this level, I'll probably at least think it's okay. Like I said, they'll never do it right for me because it's not a comic. And it's animation actually is my favorite. I prefer animation to live action when it comes to comic characters, but even still, animation even changes things sometimes too much for me.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Since I had some trepidation, especially as Wolverine's my favorite character in the X-Men. He was always my favorite in the comics, and you know, in the cartoons, he was grumpy as I don't know what. Don't mess with me. Don't bother me. Unless you happen to be Jean Grey, then I got all the time in the world for you.
Of course.
I love that. I'm a sucker. I'm gonna tell you right now. I love that.
Well, Jean's pregnant, of course. So
Who?
Jean is pregnant, of course. That's not a spoiler.
Okay.
It's the beginning of the show. So.
Yeah, I said I know you like Cyclops, but man, Cyclops was such an asshole.
Yeah, that's what I like him. I hate that outfit. Well, Scott, you know, he came from. I mean, this is a guy who, at a young age, had to learn not to open his eyes or he'd blast everybody. Made him a grouch, but he was a good leader. But
Yeah.
Sure.
like-
Wolverine. Wait a minute, Wolverine's an a-hole. He's the biggest a-hole around, isn't he? You don't think Wolverine's a jerk?
More likable jerk, maybe. You know, maybe it's the Hugh Jackman casting or something like that. But who could be mad at that guy, right?
He's nothing like the comic book version now.
That's
I
true.
like Hugh Jackman, but he's not really like the comic book or the movie.
Right.
Yeah, he's
Or the animated.
like, how would I put? I don't know. I got blinders when it comes to Hugh Jackman.
Oh,
Same
he's
thing
cool,
like with
right?
Ryan Reynolds. I got blinders on. It's like, yeah, no, it's not exactly like it's in the comics.
I like Jackman. Oh no, I mean that's what. In fact, he's so good. He makes even fans of Wolverine from the comic don't mind the change or the difference.
Sure.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, no, he's so. I don't even like those X-Men movies, but I like him.
I tell you, there's one X-Men movie that I haven't seen because I can't bring myself to watch it yet.
Uh-oh. What's that?
Logan.
It's to me, it's overrated, but a lot of people do like it, but I don't blame you.
I
Tough.
just can't. I can't bring myself to
Yeah,
to watch it. Maybe I will one day, but
You're better off.
It's a tough watch.
Okay,
It's a tough
that's
watch.
good to know. That's good to know. I was like, am I missing anything? Like,
Well, in
nah.
fairness, it's very acclaimed. A lot of people really do love it, but I'm not interested in. I don't like the grim and the gritty type comic book superheroes and stuff like that often. I don't really prefer that. I just think it's ridiculous. And, I don't. Why do I want to be bummed out when I go see a superhero movie? I
That's
personally
true.
don't take for it. That's just me. Some people really go, get on into that sort of thing.
Nah, that's me. I'm not like that. That's why I get in trouble with some Snyder folks because I'm like, I do not like Zack Snyder's version of Superman. I prefer the Richard Donner version of Superman. That's my favorite. And dang it, no. Clark Kent is not just going to stand there while Pa Kent gets taken away by a darn tornado. F that.
The biggest,
Like, no, I'm just like, no, I forget, bump this movie.
I hate Man of Steel with a passion. I hate everything Snyder makes, and I'm a big Snyder hater there is. So I'm right there with you. He does not understand superheroes, and in particular Superman. He really doesn't even understand Batman. People say, "Oh, you can just do Batman." He doesn't understand movie making. He didn't even understand Watchmen, as far as I'm concerned. So, not a fan.
Yeah, well.
Although I might let Kevin Costner get taken up by a tornado. But it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon tornado. So.
Oh man, but as usual, time flies so fast here on the Spice Lounge. So thank you all so much for watching. All the all the likes, all the retweets, all the chat comments, gifted memberships. You guys are absolutely flipping amazing. I want to thank Clobbering Times for coming on the show. I sure do appreciate it. We'll have to do another comics themed show. I didn't expect it to get torpedoed like that. So I'm so glad that you're here.
I was glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Where can people find you? And what do you have going on?
It's Clobbering Times. That's the name of the channel. And it's easy enough to get to find it on that. Tonight, sometimes on Wednesday nights, Loki has his comic roundtable. He's not doing that tonight, but shout out to Loki. But I'll be doing my Wildcard Wednesday night show, which all four of my shows, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday are 9 p.m. Central. Tonight it's Wildcard Wednesday night, where I'll basically just sit there and talk to my friends in the chat and stuff and see what's going on. Tomorrow night it's the Clubby's Clubhouse with my wonderful friend Raquel Briggs and the great Mark B with the C, where we review Blake's 7 episodes and other different things and geek out with our friends. And then there's Saturday Night Star Trek, where we're reviewing all of real Star Trek on there. Every Saturday night, of course, we're in Voyager right now, so it's kind of painful. Sorry, Voyager fans. And Monday night is all you. Yeah, it's a slog for me. God bless anyone who loves it, but at least we have fun beating up on it. I know that sounds horrible, but if you like it, we love everyone.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Not a fan either.
No, it doesn't.
We get in trouble for beating up on it now, but what are you gonna do? You gotta be honest, right? Oh man, so thanks for having me though. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, you are welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, folks. Please do subscribe to Clobbering Times. I have his link down in the description box of the video, so you can go over and sub to him. No worries. Happy to do it. And of course, got Dre, aka Bash Guy of That Park Place, with me here on the panel again. I so love having him here on the panel every week when he can make it. Where can folks find you, and what do you have coming up?
Well, the best place to find me is going to be at That Park Place, which Lorena, as she said before right there, has been an absolute contributor on. Thank you so much, Lorena, for being part of That Park Place. It is awesome to have you on every single time. But we are going to be having a live stream tomorrow at 12 Eastern. So please go ahead and join us for that. It is a whole lot of fun. I'm sure Lou Osman's Ghost and Culture Casino and maybe some others are going to be joining us. So you definitely want to go ahead and subscribe to that. And if you're looking for content covering theme parks across the world, well, then Theme Park Universe is the place to go, where we hold a twice a month podcast with Theme Park Wizard there, going over all the great things that are going on with Cedar Fair, Six Flags, Disney, Universal, and all the rest of them. So please go ahead and give that a subscribe as well. Thank you so much, Lorena, for...
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on
That was the
this
wrong
show.
drop. that was totally the wrong drop right there. It's supposed to be this one. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, love that. Love that. Well, love the Country Bears too. Daggone it. That show.
Oh,
I'm
it's
not
so
looking
good.
forward to that.
I'm really hoping that refurbishment goes well there. We'll see.
Yeah, because it's so funny and it's classic and it's so entertaining, and I can't tell you, and you've seen it, how many people, how many families watch that, and everyone's just like enthralled. No screens, none of that, just animatronics, great songs, great comedic timing and humor, and just so darn cheesy you can't help but love it.
So good. I can go on the Country Bears for an hour. I swear. It's so good. So great. What an astounding accomplishment on animatronics, but Mark Davis's signature humor right there. It's got jokes, it's got song, it's got fun, it's got laughs. That's what the building blocks for a great Disney attraction should be.
Yeah, we may have to break down that attraction video. We may have to do that one day. That's an idea to do. That's an idea to do.
I like that.
Well, folks, of course, you can find me here on my channel. You can also find me on That Park Place for videos, and that rare occasion when I can sneak away from corporate America. Sometimes I can actually pop on That Park Place show. But folks, make sure you're subscribed to me. Pop culture hot takes, as always. Please do not only check out my video about reacting to the trailer for The Acolyte, but also check out my video review of the American Society of Magical Negroes. So if you don't feel comfortable reviewing it, you know what? Just pass that review on to your friends and family about a film that no one actually should go and see. And apparently no one pretty much did, considering it barely made.
Not even reviewers, actually. Not even professional critics saw it. They were like, nope, we're opting out of this one. That's for sure.
If there was possible to make a movie to piss everybody off, they did. And when I thought Madam Web was the worst movie that I'd ever seen,
oh wow,
this movie said, "Hold my beer and watch this."
Hold my Bud Light and watch it.
Wow, that's bad.
Oh, so folks, Saturday I will be coming to you live from the Animal Kingdom. We're going to be checking out the Finding Nemo show live. Awesome show. And of course, going to check out the animal habitats, especially the primate habitat. I always love going over there. So we're going to have fun checking all that out and enjoying the Animal Kingdom before it gets too hot. And I'm not going over there and the animals are just like, nah, we're not gonna be out there for people. It's too darn hot. And of course, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern is the Welcome to Florida show, where we have all kinds of stories about Florida Man that we can fit in a 90-minute show about the second craziest state in the Union. Florida Man, America's worst superhero. Better term. I tell you, the stories. I mean, if you have not checked out Mike Barron's Florida Man comics, go check them out. I'm telling you, it's pretty much every time we have Florida Man stories, it's like, does Mike Barron know about that story? Is it going to be in the new Florida Man? He'll like take notes, like, really, what happened? Yeah, we have an absolute blast. So again, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please do check out the Dark Council live show tonight, starting in about an hour and 15 minutes. You will be redirected right from this live stream over to Fatal J's channel for the Dark Council show. They're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Again, let's see, American Society of Magical Negroes. We're going to be talking the Acolyte trailer. I think we're talking about the Romulus trailer as well. Oh, and of course some news on House of the Dragon second season. So don't want to miss that. So folks, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much to my panel. You all take care, and we'll see us for more spicy commentary next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.